Hello again and welcome back to the channel. It is the middle of the week and it is round 10 of Super Rugby. That means only one thing. It is time for the Super Rugby preview of the 10th round of the competition. Now, like always, we have a couple of teams having a bye this week. It is the Crusaders and the Jubilants celebrating Sunwolves after their very first victory in round number 9. They will be happy as little chappies with pots full of gold after that performance, getting them their first ever Super Rugby victory. They're having a week off along with the Crusaders. Who is in store for round number 10? Well, let's take a look and see what 8 matches we have for us in this round. We kick things off in Jaguar Stadium for the Chiefs. Their home match is taking a different stadium for round number 10. They are facing the Sharks. Now, the Sharks are a very interesting prospect for the Chiefs, and the Sharks, as we witnessed last week, very, very lucky team and a very good team of players who take their chances, which is really what you need to do, especially when you play for a team like the Sharks who still have an inability to score tries. But you've got to look at the Sharks team. They're fit, their defence will once again lead them well, and they can defend this Chiefs team. They are well within a chance of possibly getting close to a result. I never thought they would have come close against the Highlanders, but the red card and things like that can change a match massively. The Chiefs are still an injury ward though, more players out injured, and more players forced changes in this week's starting 15. The most bizarre of all, of course, Tuera Karbalo, out with a broken hand. I think 6 weeks. He's out for 4 or 6 weeks. But how bizarre, how unlucky is it that he broke his hand while making a tackle and hitting Aaron Cruden on the head and giving him stitches, cutting his head open? That is just absolutely unlucky as you can get. The Chiefs are so hit with injuries, yet they still pick these players who just step up when they are required. The Chiefs at home, Jaguar Stadium, it'll draw a big crowd as well, and I'm picking them to get the job done over the Sharks. There won't be no indiscretions here for the Chiefs, 38-18 over the Sharks. Following that one, we're off to NIB Stadium in Perth, where it is the Western Force up against the Bulls from South Africa. This could be an interesting match if the Force can show some of that form we've seen from them a couple of rounds ago. They were massively outplayed last week by the Waratahs, especially in that last 15 minutes or so, but you've got to give them a bit of credit. They stuck well with the Waratahs for the majority of that match. The Bulls, on the other hand, as most South African sides, they're not too fond of travelling. But remember, they did have the bye in round number 9. So that extra time to possibly allow for the trip and climatise themselves to being in Perth could help the Bulls. It should help them get prepared for this match. It could go a big way to where the Bulls will finish this season should they have a good road trip. And it starts here with the Force. They need a win. They need a big win. And they need to assert these performances back in their conference, and they see results in Australia. That is the number one task for the South African sides if they want to dominate their conference. I think the Bulls will do it, and I think they'll do it quite easily. 33-11, we might see a bit of a fight from the Force, but really, I think they may have done their dash for 2016. Late Saturday afternoon sees match number 3 of round 10, and it's the Blues up against the Rebels. Now, this one really got my interest. I think this could possibly be the match of the weekend. The Rebels, the number 1 team in Australia. Note that down, Rebels fans. This is a magnificent occasion for the team to be top of Australia after 9 rounds of the competition. And they look good. They deserve it. They've performed under the radar slightly, but they've done what needs to be done. They have really developed a very good-looking team. No superstars that are going to just, blow teams out of the water. It's a very, very tight, committed team together, and they have the hard workers that get the job done week in, week out, and really don't get the credit that they deserve. I think the Rebels haven't really dropped their performances off week after week. They've been pretty consistent, and consistent enough to get the results that matter as well. The Blues, on the other hand, they're at home as well, and they're back from the bye. But they are the opposite to what we've seen recently from the Rebels. They're inconsistent. They're still relatively very much unknown. I don't really know what to expect from the Blues, and they've gone some more changes as well, which is going to be big for them. Can they find some sort of form and carry it through for a couple of weeks? Will be nice from the Blues. They're in a very tough conference in New Zealand, and these derby matches always really test the teams, but it's these ones against the Australian opponents and the South African opponents when they get them that are must-wins here for teams like the Blues if they're going to keep pace with the Chiefs and the Crusaders, who are just flying high at the moment. I've got the Blues to win this one. Now, I had to really think about it, but it's home advantage, back from the bye, fresh. Rebels have really put in a lot of performances recently, a lot of tough matches to get results, and now they're coming over to New Zealand. I mean, they were very good against the Cheetahs last weekend, but I just think the Bulls at home will have that little bit of an attacking edge over the Rebels, and it should get them home. I'm picking it to be close, though, 26-23, the Blues just to pip it over the Rebels. Following that one, we make our way down to the deepest of Souths, and my local stomping ground, Rugby Park Stadium in Invercargill. It is the Highlanders up against the Brumbies, and I did see this fixture advertised locally around here about being in the Super Rugby competition this year down here in Southland. I thought that is a massive fixture for Rugby Southland to pick up, to have at Rugby Park, and even 10 rounds into it, I still think this is a fantastic fixture to have down here. Normally it's only the low-running teams. You'd normally see the Kings or something like that down here, the team that gets a bit of a whooping. But we're getting, well, what recently has been a fairly good side in the Brumbies. So I'm excited for how this one is going to go. But the Highlanders, on the back of 2 one-point losses in a row, that has to hurt. That really has to hurt, and it really has to play on their minds as well. For the Highlanders, 4 weeks without Jason Emery, I don't think they're going to miss him too much because he's not a massive part of their game plan. He's very much a bench player, a team player, and really first start of the season for him, and look what happened. No good for the Highlanders. As for the Brumbies, a big loss for them will be no Joe Tamani, who has been in absolute sublime form over recent weeks. The only real Brumbies player to make inroads going forward, and really is a dangerous threat to the line of their opponents. But for the Brumbies, I think they've quickly lost that favourites tag that they had from the Australian Conference after massive losses to 2 other New Zealand sides, the Chiefs and the Crusaders. And I think it's going to be a hard way back for them, travelling all the way down here. It's generally cold. The game's at 7:30, which by that time down here it will be pitch black, or pretty much close to pitch black. It'll probably be fairly cold, a bit frosty even, possibly. The Brumbies aren't going to like that. The Highlanders, well, they normally do, but they've spent so long indoors, who knows what they like anymore. It should be a classic matchup, and I'm picking the local boys, the Highlanders, who normally don't win here. I've got them down for one, 24-22, Highlanders over the Brumbies. Quickly after that, we make our way over to Suncorp Stadium, where the resurgent Reds are back in action, and they are up against the Cheetahs, who had a dreadful weekend in round 9, going down in a big humbling heap to the Rebels. Now the Reds, they are the turnaround spectacular team of Super Rugby. Myself, along with many others, after first few rounds of the tournament, was saying, give the Reds the wooden spoon right now, because they are horrible. Absolutely dreadful. And they've really turned it around. They've sacked the coach, and I don't know. Is that the only difference? I don't know. But something has changed, and they have been phenomenal. Even in their tour of South Africa, they competed. I mean, last weekend, they were up against the Stormers, and they put in quite a performance to really push the Stormers to that last 10-minute mark before finally they went down in a heap, but still a creditable display from the Queensland outfit. The Cheetahs, early in the season, we credited them for being consistent and doing what it takes to get the wins, knowing how to win matches. Well, that's gone. That is completely out the window, especially more so after that humbling from the Rebels in round number 9. It's a tough tour for the Cheetahs, and they've got to come to Australia, face two of those sides that can really destroy a season if they get their game right. I mean, the Reds and the Rebels are teams that you back yourself to beat, but you always know they're that potential banana skin that always have that ability to trip you up. And you got to credit the Reds. They're opposite to over to South Africa. As I said before, they were great. They're back at home, and they will want to put on a show for their local fans who, well, you have to be very pleased with how the Reds are going. I've even got the Reds to win this one. Last weekend convinced me enough. The horrible performance that was from the Cheetahs. We'll see them go down 31-22 in an entertaining matchup between the two sides, but the Reds will pull out the victory over the Cheetahs. Now we make our way all the way over to South Africa, Emirates Airline Park in Johannesburg, where the Lions will be up against the Hurricanes, and what a mouth-watering prospect this one should be. The entertaining possibilities of where this game could go are endless. Two teams that know how to run, they know how to score tries, they know how to really entertain the crowd. The Lions again look top of the South African sides. After a great performance last weekend, it's thrashing the Kings, let's be fair, who hasn't done that. They really do look on top of their game. Recent performances see their form very, very nice. The Hurricanes, though, to their credit, every week that's gone on and on, they have improved more and more and more. It was a tough match against the Chiefs last weekend, but they just about almost very close got the result over the Chiefs, who are possibly one of the form sides, if not the form side of Super Rugby at the moment. I think for the Hurricanes, this tour into South Africa will dictate how their season goes. They're teetering where they need to keep consistently winning and getting points, and a bad 2-3 match run could really see their season fall away, especially with how the Crusaders are playing as well. They're just resurgently tearing up the leaderboard straight to really compete with the Chiefs right up the top. For me, this match has to go down to home advantage. It's going to be close, it's going to be entertaining, but I think just the whole home field advantage for the Lions should be enough to get them over the line. The way they've played, once again, in front of their fans, that's where they want to be, and they will put on a show. The Hurricanes will compete, they'll put on a show too. I really hope they both give it everything they've got and could possibly put on a classic, crunching, try-scoring fest for the fans out there. I've got the Lions 37-31 over the Hurricanes. Staying in South Africa, and we move our way over to Newlands and Cape Town, where the Stormers are up against the Waratahs, and life gets no easier for the Waratahs and their fans. And as if recent form wasn't bad enough, now they have to make the trip over to South Africa. I don't think it could have come at a worse time for the Waratahs as well, as they need points and wins to resuscitate a drowning and suffocating season from them so far. I can't see any fun coming out of this one for the Waratahs. The Stormers, they're of course at home, and they'll be a bit annoyed because they got a bit rattled last weekend against the Reds, a team they would have expected to put away quite comfortably, but they did finish very, very strongly. But that wouldn't sit well with them to be put under a pressure match like that from a team that they would consider the Reds to be a team they should be easily beating. But credit to the Reds, like we've already said. The Waratahs, similar boat. I think they might offer the same kind of thing as the Reds, possibly a bit more forward orientated and a bit more star power in the back line, but the Stormers have plenty to match that. And the form that the Waratahs are showing, I can't see it being a very fun night for the New South Wales side. I've got the Stormers taking this one convincingly, as you like. 41-27 over the Waratahs. Should be plenty of tries for the Stormers boys out there for that second to last match, number 7 of round 10. Right, Sunday, the final match of round 10. It is the Jaguars, the Jaguares, up against the Kings. This one is in Buenos Aires, and what can you say? This has to be a win for the Jaguars. They cannot lose this match. I know the Kings, they beat the Sunwolves, remember that as well, but I envision that the Jaguars and staff and team would have looked at their schedule and they would have targeted areas of the season that they deem points they should be accumulating and winning matches from. Matches they'll say, if we can scrape something out of this, good. If we lose this one, not the end of the world. We need to win this. Right now, Sunwolves last weekend, Kings this weekend. That is a group. That is a cluster. The Jaguar staff should have gone, bang. We need to win 2 in a row, minimum. No excuses, no rubbish coming back at us. Win, no questions asked. Get the job done. It hasn't turned out that way for the Jaguars, and they've lost to the Sunwolves last weekend. Now they need to put pressure on themselves. If it wasn't already big enough, they need to start winning. They are the team that many thought could be a threat. I thought would be a threat. I love watching these Argentinian players play. They are entertainment plus, but they just have not had the luck. They've not had the finishing to get anything done. Some are blaming the coaching staff. Some are blaming that they're just not ready. They need a couple of seasons. I don't know. These guys are internationally recognized. I mean, these guys play at World Cups, a majority of them as well. They need to get the points. Now, you got to remember, the Kings are in this match as well. And the Kings beat the Sunwolves, so it's not unthinkable that they could go and beat the Jaguars as well. And they have shown through portions of every match that they've played that they are capable of scoring tries and putting a game plan together. The Kings just have not shown a real 80-minute performance against any of the better sides this season. The talent is there, and I think we can look at the Kings as a side like the Lions, a team that could stick true with their core players and could really come to town in a couple of years' time where they could be a threat to this competition. Alrighty, that is our 8 matches done and dusted for round number 10. Thank you for tuning in and watching. And of course, as always, get your picks in the comments below. See if you can do better than my picks. Of course, 1 point for getting the winner correct. Another bonus point for getting the scoreline within 10 points. And of course, 5 bonus points if you can get the scoreline exactly right. That is the money right there, my friends. So get involved, get stuck in, and see if you can beat me at Rugby Picks for round 10 of Super Rugby. Right, that is me, done and dusted. Cheers for tuning in. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all very soon for the review of Super Rugby round number 10. Until then, thanks for watching, and take care.